I gotta come back to this on the way out.
Did you see that copper oxide in there? Sorry, Crystal, I'm gonna mess up your shot.
Not at all.
And then this is just limestone.
Yeah. Pretty marbly.
Oh, I've heard. It's just crunched everything up.
Yeah, and it's just so, it got so fractured and broken up by fault movement that water is able to flow through, and that's why it's so oxidized. You can see all the secondary iron oxides.
Yeah.
Because all this other rock, it looks brown, but it's just coated.
Yeah, it's all coated.
It just actually looks like this.
Yeah.
It's nice clean marble. But that zone got faulted and became basically a fluid highway for all this secondary alteration.
And then it's just dripped down. And yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how cleaned up. If you washed all of it off, you could see it more cleanly.
I know, water has to be sweet.
So I'm like, well, yeah, it would be expensive to duplicate them. They drilled it, didn't blast it.
You're not gonna find anything that way. Just
This is
more marble.
definitely newer though. This is like 70s. It's much bigger. You can see much bigger drifts. It's in really good shape.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard. It's pretty good ground.
Yep. Cool, should we go down the other drift? There's a cave down there. Welcome to Mine Explorers, episode 67, where I am joined by Kirk Schleiffarth, senior geologist with Burgex, and we are underground for the first time on Mine Explorers. So this will be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me about where we're at today.
Well, we're in a underground mine. This is an adit that we walked into on the side of the mountains. And we're not really quite sure what they were doing in this mine. There's not a lot of history, as you've told me.
Yeah.
But the general area suggests there could be scheelite.
Okay.
We're adjacent to a large granitic intrusion. And there's a bunch of carbonates, limestones, and marbles right next to the contact. So we're looking for scheelite.
Awesome, awesome. And we've talked quite a bit about scheelite on this show, and we showed off our cool UV lights last time, but have you seen anything interesting in this mine so far?
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of cool faults. We saw some cool veins. And right here, actually, there's, we chose this spot to sit down because there's this cool pegmatite. It's a big hydrothermal magmatic vein that extruded from a large high silica magma chamber, like a granite magma chamber. And basically the last things that are left before it all crystallizes kind of gets pumped out in these veins. So this kind of looks like it's a high silica. It's largely just quartz, some larger crystals of some kind of hard to tell what they are. Maybe
Those are pretty big, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are big crystals in there. So this is a really young dike then that's come in.
I don't know how young it is. I would say so this intrusion or this batholith that we're adjacent to was really long lived. But it could be in the last few million years, or it could be as old as 20 million years old.
Okay, but
yeah.
Young relative to the rest of the rocks.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Younger intrusion. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a lot of these old mines, they explored through drifting and mining. And so this one's really interesting because there's a main adit that we went in, and there's a drift that's pretty straight, few hundred feet, and then from there it kind of starts to wander at some pretty intense 90-degree angles. Like they were changing theories and different things, and then eventually it just kind of ended. And I don't think they didn't do any stoping in here, so they clearly didn't hit their target. But it's interesting because we found a few different things that would be worth taking a closer look at with some of the intrusives and stuff, which is pretty interesting. But largely very little in terms of scheelite.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of fun to imagine because like today we have all these other cool tools. We have drills, we can drill holes,
Yep.
we can do surface mapping, do geophysics. There's lots of different exploration tools. But like imagining that they didn't have any of that back in the day, they were just kind of wandering through the mountain and following their ideas and their hunches until it either worked or it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting. We've been putting together a lot of drill quotes and things this year because exploration's picking up, and some of our clients are shocked at the price of coring these days. It's getting a lot more expensive per foot. But you think about the expense of doing what they did here, where you're advancing 8 to 10 feet a day through this limestone. And you've got, all your teams and everything. Like you think about the expense, like that's a lot more expensive than just putting in a core hole
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
do exploration. So let's back up a little bit and talk about Kirk. We like to have all of our guests on the show talk about kind of how they got into mining and how you got into geology.
Yeah. Well, my dad actually encouraged me back in the day to take a geology class. He knew me. I was always obsessed with maps and hiking, exploring.
Maps will get you.
Yeah, exactly. So I took a geology class, and honestly, I was hooked. So I just went through on my undergrad, and I got really into volcanoes and tectonics, and I ended up doing a master's degree on a volcanic field in Idaho, doing kind of geochemistry and mapping, things like that. And then I ended up doing a PhD and worked on a bigger scale tectonics project. And
Very
I was
cool.
linking the relationship between volcanic processes and tectonic processes using geochronology and geochemistry. And it was a big collaborative effort with a bunch of different universities and different experts. And then so I kind of went through schooling, and I ended up with this really broad background. Even though I ended up doing a PhD, I still kind of felt like I wasn't really a true traditional PhD with like a clear expertise.
Right.
I kind of came out with this kind of broader background, and that was kind of the way I wanted it to be, because that's what I like. I don't like pigeonholing myself.
Right, that's fair, yeah.
And it worked out for me. I ended up teaching for a few years, but then I kind of switched gears entirely and got into mining. Started working at the Stillwater mine in Montana.
Very cool. It's super unique deposit.
Yeah, absolutely. So like that was cool because it is a unique deposit. It's a layered mafic intrusion. So it's an large igneous, body, which was kind of right up my alley with all these volcanic processes, magmatic processes. And that also ties into like all the other mining stuff that I've been learning about in terms of like porphyry deposits and even like these types of deposits and scheelites. There's just tons of overlap. So if you have that kind of broad general background, it's pretty easy to pick up how these deposits work.
Right,
And
right.
the processes, they're transferable. So it's easy to kind of develop hypotheses that aren't so far-fetched, and you can understand processes. So
Yeah. Interesting. So we had our last guest, Jim Reed, on the show, and he was the founder of Rockware, and they build all these different tools for modeling and everything. But he was talking about, it's really amazing how young geologic understanding is with plate tectonics and all that stuff. Like we're still at the very beginning. He was talking about how that came out while he was in school, and prior to plate tectonics and all that, they had these theories about like sediments would build up in rivers over time and go out onto the continental shelf, and then it would eventually reach this critical mass where suddenly a mountain range would rise up, and how they had all these theories and stuff. And then eventually plate tectonics came out. Wow, that's really cool. And it was really interesting to talk to somebody who actually lived through that.
Wow.
And he said that he was still early in his schooling with geology, and like he had to forget most of what he had already learned and relearn this whole new system. But we're not talking about like 100 years ago. This is like just a few decades ago.
This is in the 60s.
Yeah, so it's cool you got to contribute. Like your work in that is some pretty early work in understanding plate tectonics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is really cool.
Yeah, it's fun geology is such a new science.
Right.
Like you said, it's not like biology or chemistry or physics. Those sciences have been developed over centuries.
Yep.
Geology is really brand new.
Yeah.
And technology is really advancing it really quickly.
Yep.
So we're learning a lot about geology in the last few decades. But it's really fun because, like, if you have a tectonic kind of like a viewpoint of the continent, for example, like the Western U.S.,
Yeah.
and you understand the processes that formed the different mountain ranges.
Basin and range and fault extensions and all that. Yeah, it
Exactly.
starts to kind of piece together. It ties all the other systems together. Yeah.
Exactly, and it makes prospecting a lot more, it just makes more sense. You're like, oh, that makes sense that that's there because
Right.
I know that this orogeny or this event occurred and then it was tilted or this and that.
Yep.
And so putting it all together is really fun. And that's what's really fun about being in mining and geology, because you really get to be a jack of all trades and try to understand everything.
Yeah, and you're right. Like, it's such a new science, and so much of it's still changing and developing, that I think to be a good geologist, you really have to stay flexible and just always be learning and understanding and evolving with the science. It's not like, mathematics where you learn it all and you're kind of set in your way and this is how we do things. Like, geology is always changing, which is really cool. I mean, we have plate tectonics now, and in another 50 or 100 years, they could be like, well, that's a rudimentary understanding. Here's really what's happening, and it could change even more, which is cool.
Yeah, and science is a lot about like developing models that are predictable, that you can then predict where maybe a new deposit might form.
Right.
But geology has this added complexity of just time,
Yeah.
where it's really hard to predict geology. Like, you can understand processes and principles,
Yeah.
but no one deposit is the same.
Right.
No one location is the same. So everything is unique, and that's what makes it exciting. You're really exploring and understanding. Like, you're taking concepts and applying it to a new location under new circumstances, which is really fun.
Yeah, and even doing that, you could do a lot of that in brownfield areas where everybody's exploring. You come up with new theories and stuff. But then there's areas like the range we're in now where literally no modern explorations happened.
Right.
So we talked about that plate tectonics understanding and stuff being relatively new. Nobody's really approached this range to understand it with that perspective. You could literally be the first one, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of frontier out there.
No, there really is. It's
which is
exciting.
neat. Yeah. Yeah, and then you layer on top of that, like you were talking about, all the new tools and everything, core drilling and all the downhole tools we have now and the geophysics and everything. It's really impressive what we can do now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, at the end of the day, the reason we're underground today, and we've been underground all day looking at different mines, is you still can't beat the boots on the ground, looking at the rock, taking the chip samples, all that. Like, the tools will help get you in the right location and then help you understand what you're seeing, but there's still no substitute for actually going and seeing it.
No, absolutely. Like, I think I had a pretty good understanding of what was going on here. At least I thought so. And then we went underground the other day, and I was kind of like, you just remind yourself that things are more complicated
Yeah.
than you ever really imagined.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's, the more you zoom out, the simpler it gets. But the more you zoom in, the more complicated it gets.
Things like this.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's something that you can't really predict you're going to find. Like, suddenly there's going to be this dike here. And we saw that too. So the mines that we rappelled into the last couple of days, I had a very simplified 2D view. I mean, sort of 3D, but mostly 2D, thinking about it. And then you go in and you look and you're like, okay, this is fully 3D. There is all sorts of different things going on. And then these small intrusives, like, that's something we had talked about, some of the layers and the skarns and limestones and different things. And we talked a little bit about bigger intrusives, but I don't think we really considered that there could be small intrusives just throughout.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There can be, so this intrusion that we're looking at is basically a large sill. So it was an intrusion that came up and then spread out horizontally along the base of some sedimentary layers.
Gotcha.
But that doesn't mean there weren't dikes that punched through at different levels and
Right.
formed sills further up in the column.
Gotcha.
And so, or other dikes. So we're gonna see, I'm sure as we drill this project that we're working on, we're gonna see a lot of different intrusions with different textures and at different depths than we expect. And it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's the wild card.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, interesting. So you went to Stillwater and then you ended up at Rio Tinto. And so doing a lot of mine geology and things like that. So now you've taken the shift to the world of exploration again and kind of more juniors and a little more wildcat, a little more rugged, you get to run projects and everything. What's that been like so far?
Honestly, that's where I've probably always wanted to be, is in a position like this. I think when I got into mining, it was kind of like, all right, I need to like get my feet wet, learn the industry a little bit. It was kind of intentional. I wanted to move in this direction. So like now that I'm here, it's been really, really fun. I'm excited about thinking about these projects. I'm not, when you I was working at a large mine, so it was a lot of just processes and rinse and repeat, collect data, interpret the data, update the models, and then drive mining. So there's a lot of interesting things to do. But this is obviously a whole different level.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many unknowns, there's so many problems to solve. The geology is completely unknown. There's so many things to learn. So it's just like, and that's another thing, like I'm working on a new deposit type, or I get called from another client, I'm working on a different deposit type that I've never worked on before.
Right.
But I'm willing to learn that and jump into something like that. And that's the fun of it, is really learning new things.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, that's one of the things I love about doing what we do is I really do get to do all sorts of different things, which is really fun, and tons of different deposit types, because we do everything from construction aggregates to all the metals and everything in between. So we may be looking at, the other day I was doing research for fluorspar, which I've never really looked for before. So I was looking at that and what the process is and everything and where to find it. And then, just a few weeks ago, I was at a kyanite mine looking at that, and that was something I didn't even know existed before I got there.
That's awesome.
Which is cool. So yeah, and then back to the Scheelite again, and so it's always changing. And with the markets and everything, it always will change too. There's always going to be something new and something different we're looking at. So yeah, that's what I like about it as well. It's a cool direction, and I'm a little biased, because that's what we do is exploration. But I tell a lot of junior geologists, sometimes we get some that are like, should I go back to school and get a master's? Should I go work for a bigger mine? Should I, stick with you guys and go get a lot of experience? And I'm like, really, if you can stick it out and just go explore for a bunch of different things, and eventually you might fall in love with something and be like, this is what I want to do, and I want to really zoom in on this. And then from there, you can go get your master's and specialize in that and go work at a mine that does that and get the experience. But there's a lot of value at some point in your career just to go get a bunch of different experience, in a bunch of different parts of the industry.
No, absolutely. And that's what this job is too. I mean, you get experience in a variety of different things, from greenfields exploration all the way through permitting and drilling and assaying and interpreting the results. So we get to see a lot of the process.
Yeah, and that's the fun part is there's the scientific part of it, the geology and all that. But then there's also like the management part too, getting experience with the permitting and managing the people and the drill crews and putting together estimates and everything. It's just a good all around thing. But yeah, it's exciting to have you on board. And you said you watched the show, so I figured we'd get you on, and we had you out in the field. So we got to set up the cameras underground and film a little bit. And so yeah, it's been good having you on.
Sweet. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next time, and we'll fade out with some B-roll of exploring around, looking at mines.
This would have been a really hot, like quartz vein, hydrothermal vein, pumping fluids through it. So it would have been altering the limestone on either side of it. You have like a little zone of alteration surrounding the big quartz vein. And as you get further away, you can see it's pretty much unaltered.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, there's a speck. pushed out. It's dripped out onto the sides and coated the limestone.
That's wild.
Did you see it on there?
Oh yeah, it looks amazing.
It's like a spooky haunted house or something.
Yeah, look at up top too.
There we go.
So that's calcite. You can see it, it's actually collecting in here.
Yeah, it is all dripping off, huh?
Yep.